stomach? Did you find anything to...
It's gone.
Yeah?
Yeah. I finally have been prescribed the right stomach medicine after 6 years of being in constant pain. Finally, I haven't had a stomach problem for like over a year now. Yeah.
Did they finally figure out what it was, or did they just finally...
No, they never figured out what it was. I mean, most gastrointestinal doctors don't know anything about the stomach diseases. They just have a PhD, you know? They get paid a lot of money for pretending and prescribing you different drugs, and it's a total scam as far as I'm concerned, because I've been going to doctors for 6 years, and I've tried every drug available except for this one last one that's brand new, and it finally worked. And it can't be, what do you call that? I mean, it isn't...
Placebo?
What?
Placebo?
No. No, it can't be, it isn't a specific stomach ailment. It doesn't have a name or anything. It wasn't a matter of finding out what disease I had. It's just, you know, it's psychosomatic, it's part of my nervous system, it's part of, you know, there are millions of people all over the world who have irritable bowel syndrome, and that's the common term that all doctors call a stomach problem, and they just say, oh, you have irritable bowel syndrome, but I can't fix it, you know. I don't have anything to fix it, but, you know, there's just a variety of ulcer medicines that can slow down ulcers, you know, and eventually heal them. But I didn't have an ulcer. I just had a red irritation in my stomach, you know. But I was in pain. I mean, I was in pain for so long that I didn't care if I was in a band. I didn't care if I was alive, you know. And it just so happened that I came to that conclusion at a time when my band became really popular, you know. I mean, it had been going on and building up for so many years that I was, you know, suicidal. I mean, I just didn't want to live. So I just thought, if I'm going to die, if I'm going to kill myself, I should take some drugs, you know. May as well become a junkie, because I felt like a junkie every day, you know. You know, waking up starving, forcing myself to eat, you know, barfing it back up. It's like, you know, just imagine trying to eat your 3 meals a day and just concentrating and just crying at times, just like, I'm in pain all the time, you know. And being on tour was a lot worse too, you know, it made it even worse. So
when did they, how long have you not been in pain? What was it? I know you just said it, like when did they find the medicine that took care of it?
About a year ago.
That's good.
Yeah.
I want to go through some your memories from the videos that you've made from shooting them. And actually, the only thing that I've heard in interviews say any kind of disappointment about any of them was "Smells Like Teen Spirit." That not turn out to be exactly what you thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, although it worked, I mean, I liked the video overall, but it wasn't what I pictured in my mind. When I come up with an idea for a video, I want it to be translated exactly how I see it in my mind, and it just wasn't that way. I mean, we didn't take enough time, we didn't prepare ourselves enough to have as much control as we wanted to, you know. And I just remember walking in the day of the shoot and looking at the set, because I had, you know, had meetings with Sam there, and I told him what I wanted. I drew pictures of it, and I walked in, and it wasn't what I wanted. You know, it looked like a Time Life commercial to me. You know, with that backdrop, it just looked like such a contemporary. You know those kind of commercials where people are sitting there, you know, trying to sell aspirin or something, or, you know, an AT&T commercial. That's what it looked like to me. It looked too contemporary, but still, the kids made the video, you know, and I had to, like, even after Sam had edited it, he edited it and sent it to me, and I didn't like it, and I flew down at the last minute to LA and edited it myself. I threw in a few extra things, which pretty much saved it, because I don't want to toot my own horn, but I mean, there were a lot of really there was a lot of really good footage that wasn't used, and if a lot of that wasn't used, it would have been a really bad video.
More crowd stuff, you mean, and the kids going crazy?
Yeah, there wasn't really a lot of that, and most of the stuff that was used looked really contrived. There was no spontaneity in it, so I just threw all the spontaneous parts in.
I guess after that, you did a couple with Kevin Kerslake. What was now the only? I guess the blues and the purples and your faces being distorted was the only thing you really wanted from Come As You Are. Is that true, or was it, or the biggest things that you were concerned with?
Yeah, those were the biggest things. And I wanted a baby underwater, and I just wanted a water effect. And overall, I'd say a real large percentage of that was exactly how I thought of it in my mind. But he came up with the idea of the actual set, with the stairs and the chandelier and stuff. And it just worked out perfectly. I mean, it's really good. It's great to work with somebody that can come up with their own ideas too, and just surprise you, and not only come up with the same exact vision that you had, translate that, and then throw in their own ideas. And that works even better, because then you have more things to work with,
What was yours and what was his? Do you remember what you suggested and some of the things he surprised you with?
Well, he basically just came up with the set, the stairs, and the chandelier, the set itself, yeah.
How long do you have to swing from the chandelier?
Quite a few hours, yeah.
Lithium was originally going to be a pretty elaborate, I guess, concept video with some pretty elaborate ideas you had for it, right?
Yeah, it's just that we failed to hire some puppet people. I guess that's what you'd call them, people who do animation and use puppets in time to be able to finish it, to get it out in time of the release date. So we just scrapped the idea. Actually, we just put it on hold, and we're still working on it. We still want to do something with puppets. At the time, I wanted pretty much a rip-off of the Brothers Quay. Not a rip-off, but, using the same imagery. But because I make dolls, I've been making dolls for years, and it just turns out that the dolls that I make are a lot like Brothers Quay dolls that they use. And when I first saw their short films, I was just amazed. It's like, God, this is the neatest thing I've ever seen. That's my mind, And it was just, it was just put on the back burner. But we're still working on it.
That'd be cool. Have you seen that Tool video?
Oh God, I hope they get sued.
You did a great job ripping them off, but it is so...
It is such a rip-off. It's a shameless rip-off. Yeah. I mean, I wanted a Brothers Quay style, but I didn't want anything like that, That was terrible. I mean, it's a neat video. It's really nice to look at, but I mean, I'd rather watch a Brothers Quay video,
Yeah, God, I mean, even down to like stuff coming through windows on walls.
Yeah, so, meat going through tubes and pipes, and shameless. They'd be slapped on the wrists for that.
And can you? I mean, no one's ever going to hear what I'm saying actually. So if you can just kind of explain how the idea for In Bloom came up and who that is doing the Ed Sullivan bit again.
Oh, who is the guy that? Oh, that's Doug Llewellyn. The guy in the In Bloom video is Doug Llewellyn from the People's Court. He's the MC or whatever you would call him. He's the guy that talks to the people after they win or lose. He interviews them. Yeah. It was my idea to come up with that. I thought I want to do a video that's either from. I wanted something that looked like it was off of live television from the late 50s or early 60s. And I thought the best way to do it, instead of trying to reproduce that effect with new film, I thought I asked Kevin, are those kinescope cameras still available? And he said, yeah, we can get them in Hollywood. You can get anything in Hollywood. So it just worked out perfectly. I didn't think we'd ever be able to actually find those kind of cameras, but we did. And that's another video that just came out exactly how I wanted it, just perfectly.
Are we running out of tape? Is that what you're...
No, I'm sorry. I was just saying that first part of the answer was kind of long.
Oh, okay.
So
All right,
it's
fine.
like part of mine.
Was there the other thing that the thing that struck me the most about it the first time I saw it was some film I've seen of when Elvis was in a lot of trouble for his pelvic thrusting, and when they shot him just from the waist up, and then he went on Ed Sullivan, and Ed pulled him aside and said, "This is a perfectly nice fella," you know, and all that, and all of a sudden his problems were over and he was okay. Was that sort of in line with what was going on with you guys? With the three perfectly nice, clean-cut young men?
No, I don't remember ever seeing that Elvis thing, but I think, God, what was the story about that? I think it was just that I was talking to Kevin about it, and I said that I would like him to say something about how nice and clean cut we are, you know, how perfect we are, because, you know, the In Bloom video came out at the height of us being thought of as degenerates, you know, so, you know, we needed a lighthearted video, you know.
That's why I asked. It seemed like an odd parallel with what I remember seeing from the Elvis stuff.
Mm.
How did you end up doing 3 versions of it? You were going to do, you had planned on doing 2, right?
Was there a third one?
Well, I mean, maybe that's just something I know because I know there was one there. But there's one that's all dresses. There's one that's all in the suits and stuff, and then there's the one that's the mix that I guess got played the most.
I don't know anything about the one that was just all suits. I think Kevin wanted to do one with just suits, but I've never seen that one. I don't know if he actually made one or not.
I don't know.
Because all I know about it is the one with the dresses and the one with both of them.
They probably never aired anything.
Mm.
Now, was Sliver supposed to? I know that was done in your garage or something.
Yeah.
In the basement. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was that? I don't know. Maybe I'm high thinking this, but I thought I heard someplace that was supposed to replicate an old rehearsal space here or something, or.
No, it turned out that it looks a lot like my old apartment in Olympia because I had moved all my stuff. I had my entire apartment, all the stuff from my apartment from Olympia, stored in a storage space for the last 2 years, and I brought it up to the house when we moved into Seattle last year, and I had all this stuff in the basement, and so I set everything up exactly how I had it in my apartment in Olympia. It's just weird deja vu to see that.
How did Frances Bean survive that? Was she kind of?
That's just trickery. That's just she wasn't right in the middle of us dancing around and throwing things. You know, we shot us dancing around, and then we put her down, and then like just drop paper around her, you know, and then edited it together to make it look like she was like at our feet.
That just seemed like an obvious thing to do since she was there in the house and stuff. Or
Yeah, she was there. I was babysitting.
Yeah. So, when you went to do Heart Shaped Box, did you plan on doing that with Kevin, or did you decide you wanted to go with someone else from the beginning?
I'd rather not answer that.
Okay, that's cool. Did you collaborate with Anton a lot of the ideas? And actually, why Anton?
Well, we met him a few months before we did the video, or before we decided to do the video. He did a photo shoot for us, and he was just such a nice guy. And then I think it was a New Order video, and I wanted to work with somebody that was a photographer or an artist this time. I just wanted to make sure that the visuals are going to be really stark and vivid, you know? So that's why we chose him.
I met him for like 2 minutes once.
Yeah, he's great. He's a really great guy.
Was the idea where the hanging fetuses and the organ woman and Santa on the cross and all that stuff?
All of it was my idea, except for the large woman. You know, that was Anton's idea. And that was just another thing that he just threw in. You know, we didn't even talk about that. It was just, he just happened to film her one day when we weren't there. And it was incredible. I mean, it turned out so great. like I was saying before, it's really great to work with somebody who has their own ideas, you know, because and not only can you translate exactly, I mean, that video has come closer to what I've seen in my mind, what I've envisioned, you know, than any other video. I didn't think it would ever be possible to come that close, you know. It was just perfect. I think I've drained myself on video ideas. I don't even want to try to reproduce something like that again.
Is it a lot of work for you?
A lot of work, yeah. Oh, definitely. It's mind-boggling. It's just, I don't know, it's a really detailed medium. It's just, there's so much to it, you know, and it's so fragile. You know, you could really screw it up.
Now, you're not going to make a video for All Apologies. You're just going to go with the Unplugged.
I just haven't bothered to come up with any ideas lately. I've been on tour, and I haven't been thinking of anything other than just concentrating on touring. I just don't want to bother with it right now. I don't really see the need to put out more than 1 or 2 videos for each record anymore. It's basically a waste of money because everyone knows we have a record out, you know. And if we're going to sell some more records based on the next video, then those aren't people who want to listen to our album anyhow. They bought it because of that video or that song, you know. And, you know, I just want to sell albums to people who really like us and who already know about us and already like us, you know. So I don't see any reason for it. I actually don't want to do any more videos, but I've got a few ideas for Rate Me, and we want to release it as a single, so we might do something with that.
Do you want to talk about that at all, or do you want to save that for?
We'll save it.
Was All Apologies going to be the next single anyway? Because that, I mean, of the Unplugged stuff that I've seen, that's one of the ones that I think fits the Unplugged format the best. Was that the reason for it, or were you planning on putting it out as a single anyway?
No, it was going to be the next single. I don't think it was the best performance off the Unplugged thing. That's just my opinion. I don't think it was that good, really. We've played that song a lot better before, but I see what you mean. It does fit. It could work really well acoustically.
So you talked about how you weren't particularly crazy about the way a lot of the production ended up for Nevermind or something. Did that affect the way you went into In Utero at all?
I think it had a little bit to do with that, yeah. And we just wanted to make sure that it wasn't as commercial or slick sounding. And the main reason is it had nothing to do with wanting to alienate people or, you know, it had nothing to do with that. We just wanted to make sure that we put out a record exactly how we want it. We wanted to put out a record that we would listen to at home, you know? And we don't listen to very, very many bands that are produced the way Nevermind was produced. Although it is raw by comparison, you know, to most other commercial rock records, you know. It's still, we don't listen to that kind of music. So, I mean, I really can't think of any other band besides R.A.M. that has that kind of production that I like, you know, so.
Was that way? You know, something actually that surprised me that I didn't know that Chris said earlier is that you actually originally were thinking about Steve Albini for Nevermind.
We've been thinking about Steve Albini forever. We've been wanting to have him produce us since around Bleach, actually. If we could have gotten him for Bleach, we would have done that. But we couldn't afford it at the time, I don't think. No, I guess that isn't the right answer. I mean, I'm sure Steve has done bands for nothing, but we just didn't think he would like us at the time or something. I don't know.
The first thing that I thought of when I heard that he was producing it was just trying to think of the way you guys sound with Surfer Rosa. And I just thought, wow, this is going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought too. I just thought it was the perfect sound for us, because when I heard Surfer Rosa, I thought, that's exactly how I want my band to sound. That's how I've always wanted our band to sound, but we've never been able to capture that sound, you know. It was just a coincidence that that he produces records like that. You know, that's what I've heard in my head for years. You know, that kind of snare drum sound. You know.
Why was Scott Litt brought in? It was just the 2 songs, right? All apologies. And
Yeah. Well,
they just didn't seem finished.
they just, I don't know. I mean, we listened to In Utero for about 2 months after it was finished, after we finished it with Albini, and listening to the album over and over again, it got a bit redundant. That drum sound is a bit overbearing after a while, and so we didn't want the entire album to sound like that, you know. We wanted something different, and Scott was available, and we loved the production of REM stuff, so we just thought, let's try Scott, and it turned out great. I mean, he's one of the greatest people I've ever worked with. I mean, it's so easy to work with. I want to do I think we all want to do our next record with him. Yeah.
Also, for the first time on this record, you know that you guys are officially credited and are officially writing things. I know you guys had you came with the sort of the guts of the song, and you always built it up and sort of put it together as you know, a band. But they're actually credited with. Did Dave come up with the riff for Silence Apprentice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He came up with the do that part and the drum part. He came up with the drum part first, and then he came up with the guitar part. But I came up with all the other guitar things over the top of it, everything else, the lyrics and singing and everything.
You looking at? I hope that happens a little more in the future, or is it?
Yeah, sure. I'm open for relieving myself of any kind of songwriting. You know, I'd be great if Chris and Dave could write more songs.
What's that?
What kind of song are you looking at?
Not too much longer, actually. I don't know. What kind of? This is something I asked the other 2 guys too. But what kind of? I mean, I guess since it has an effect on you, it has an effect on the band. But what kind of effect do you think Frances Beans had on Nirvana? I guess.
On the band?
Yeah. I mean, she said, and it sounds strange to say that, but she's had an effect on you, obviously. So, has it changed the way you work at all? And I don't necessarily mean in a bad way, but does it kind of alter the way you go about things? Or?
I don't know how Frances has affected the band, other than she amuses everybody backstage when she's on tour with us. Everyone loves to have her around. I don't know, since I haven't had a stomach problem and I've had a child and I'm married now, you know, I mean, I'm sure I'm a lot easier to deal with, you know. I'm not as grumpy as I used to be. So, I don't know, I just think our morale is at its best right now, you know. It's just, everyone just gets along. I mean, we've always gotten along. We've never really fought. I don't think we've ever gotten into a shouting argument with one another, you know. We're pretty passive-aggressive, but now there are no bad thoughts about one another behind each other's backs at all, you know. It's like, I couldn't be happier right now.
But Dave was saying he was happy that you had one first and everyone else wants to have one now, so you can kind of be their guinea pig. First one.
Yeah. Well, good, then they can start babysitting.
So last time, there were no lyrics with Bleach, and last time you waited for the Lithium single. Have you kind of had a change of heart about putting lyrics on the record?
Yeah, I think I've just become more comfortable with them. And I'm just a bit more proud of them than I always ever have been before, you know.
I know you don't like talking about what the songs are about, but is it important for you so that people can see the lyrics and figure, you know, get their own interpretation of the songs? Or?
Well, it was important have thought that that's what the song is about. Wait a minute, did I say serve the servants or scentless apprentice?
Oh,
I meant to say serve the servants. Okay.
Want to do that again? Or?
Yeah. What was the question again?
Well,
What did I say?
People, I totally went by me too. But people, I guess, interpreting things as being, from your experiences, and I mean, it can't really be unfair with the opening line of the album.
Yeah. Well, serve the servants is not about. I mean, the first opening lines that say "teenage angst has paid off well. Now I'm bored and old." That is certainly about, my ideas about grunge rock and what I've experienced in the last few years. But the rest of the song isn't about that at all. It completely changes the subject,
Paul Westerberg. Yeah.
I'm gonna wait for this.
Oh, okay.
Can we change it?
Yeah.
Okay. Mark, maybe it's a little more.
Paul Westerberg was saying once where. Okay. So tell us about this book. How did you get to know Michael Azerrad, and how'd the whole Come As You Are book?
Oh, he did the Rolling Stone cover story, and we just thought. He said, "Do you want me to write a book?" We said, "Sure, go ahead."
You just want to sort of clear the air.
Yeah, we wanted to clear the air, basically. I mean, I guess that's what I could say. Also, there was just so many misconceptions and so many stupid rumors that we all just got tired of reading about it all the time. So we thought we'd tell the truth about things.
Well, there's a lot of stuff in there in quotes, so it should.
Yeah.
It should pretty much clear everything. John Lydon's finally writing his own book.
Really?
About the Sex Pistols and everything. Yeah.
That should be interesting.
Yeah. Michael was very, I had talked to him a couple of months ago, and he was very keen to make sure that it was understood that it was with the cooperation of Nirvana and not the authorized biography.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had absolutely no control over editing anything. He let me read it right before it went to print. He stood behind me looking over my shoulder as I read it, like at 4 in the morning, till like 7 in the morning. He's like, And by that time I was so delirious, I don't even remember what I read. I mean, if there were inaccuracies, I wouldn't have been able to tell him at the time anyhow, But that's about as much control as we had over it.
When you did the cover story with him, I guess actually nothing to do with the actual interview, but the whole T-shirt thing that went on. Did you ever think they'd actually use that photo?
T-shirt thing?
The cover of Rolling Stone, with the corporate magazine.
Oh, did I think that they would use that photo on the cover? They had no choice because I refused to take my shirt off.
Are you finding it easier to play guitar and sing at the same time now that you've got a second guitarist on stage?
Yeah, I do. Although I'm still concentrated on playing guitar a lot more than I thought I would. I thought it would relieve me so much that I wouldn't even have to try anymore, and I could screw up notes and it wouldn't matter, but I still hear myself screw up, so I still have to concentrate almost as much as I ever did before, but it still is a relief. I mean, it also just rounds out the sound. I think that's the most important thing.
The thing that surprised me about it when I knew you'd had the second guitar player the first time, I guess it was the Roseland show in New York the first time, so when Big John was playing, right? It was before Pat. Is that I thought you'd be, just because I was thinking, well, now he can concentrate more on singing, I was thinking you'd be playing the rhythm parts and they'd be playing the leads that you play, but you're still playing the leads.
Hey, shut up! Who is that? Oh. What was the question now?
I thought when I had heard about having the second guitar player, I had assumed you'd stick just with simple rhythm stuff so that you could sing easier, but you're still playing the leads.
Yeah, well, that's because I know the leads, and well, actually I don't. A lot of times, I mean, even to this day, I still haven't bothered to learn the solo that I recorded on the album. I just play whatever I want, but I just still like playing lead guitar sometimes,
Can you talk about the two guys that played with Big John at first?
Well, that wasn't, it was never anything even close to official. We just decided to try him out one day. He'd been our guitar tech for quite a few months, and we thought, since we like him, and that's one of the most important things when you get a new band member, you have to like the person first, and then if they play good music, then that's second, you know. But it's just something we've been wanting for a while, you know, and it just didn't work out with John, really. I mean, he tunes guitars too good, so. And, you know, then we found ourselves without a guitar tech, so.
So is Pat going to be an official member of Nirvana now then, or is he just going to tour with you?
I don't know. We haven't tried to write any songs together yet. I'd like him to be, actually. I mean, he's so much fun to be around. And it's just been so great being on tour with him, you know. I'd like it to be a reality, but who knows.
I think that's it. That is it. Thank you.
All right, let's hit up the mighty.
Turn that